What's
Hey,
up?
what up, bro? Yeah, what up, man? How was
What's
your
up?
Tuesday?
What?
How was your Tuesday?
Oh man,
Your election
just
Tuesday.
just chill. I forgot the election happened, man.
Oh yeah, you just there's just other
Oh,
things on your mind.
yeah, I was just, thinking about I was just being present, and
Mhm.
just really I was watching porn.
Okay, the whole time. Well, you know what's
Yeah.
crazy? You know what's crazy? Even Pornhub had a like, hey, go out and vote. You know what I mean? It was literally unavoidable. There was no way. If you didn't know there was an election yesterday, you are
Yeah.
legally you can't
Yeah.
even lie.
It's so funny. Well, that those are the same people that like were undecided. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
those are the same people that like, oh, I thought the election was Thursday, election Thursday. Yeah, these people are so fucking. No, I mean, I think everybody, it was a fun time, man. I had fun.
You had
Everybody,
fun?
yeah, America, showed its grace. We participated in democracy, and
In record numbers too.
yeah, and
Mhm.
it looks like Joe might pull it off. I think what's crazy is I just found a couple thousand ballots for Joe in my closet. I was like, I forgot they were there.
Wait, did you watch any of the like election coverage? Like, did you watch
Yeah,
any of that?
yeah.
Where did you watch it on? What was your news channel of choice?
So I was watching Joe. I was going back and forth from Joe Rogan, just
Okay.
checking in them, and they really weren't covering it. I was really just kind of watching, but it was
Mhm.
like Joe and The Hill. They had one, Crystal and Sagar, and they were like pretty on point for news. And then I would check into CNN every once in a while, see what Wolf was talking about.
I I will say this: CNN by far, and this is election after election, bro. They have the best graphics.
Bro, CNN,
It's insane.
they killed it. Well, you remember when they covered Obama, they brought out holograms. People think
The
Tupac was the first
hologram.
hologram.
No, it was Will I Am on CNN.
Yeah, like yo, bro, they had holograms, man. This
Yeah,
was Obama. This was when they
yeah.
were covering Obama, man.
Mhm. They they year after year, as far as graphics go, I don't think anyone does it better than them.
No, no, no,
And
no.
like the map they have is so like in depth. Like they could just be like, oh, Biden is overperforming here compared to Hillary, and they just press one button and all the counties light up. Counties light up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. They got and then my man's, I don't know what his name was, but the guy that was on the wall and like so over here,
yeah.
he was killing that shit, man. I mean, he was fucking like this guy wasn't playing around. Like he needs his own.
No.
If he doesn't get his own spinoff where he's just explaining shit, you know what I
On a
mean?
wall, on an
Yeah,
interactive wall.
on a wall. So you see when you circle in, the races. See, and the interesting thing is that no one even knew it would go down like this. But what's happening is, let's dive in. That's like, what do you? But he was just
Yeah.
fucking going into districts. It was entertaining watching them talk about districts, and like going in and seeing which ones were for Trump last time and which ones were for Hillary, and seeing the game, or the gain that Trump made in a couple places. That was actually interesting.
Yeah. Can you hear me? Sorry, I cut out for a second.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, no, it was really interesting to see like how this played out over the night. Because at
yeah,
first, it started playing out like 2016, where the early return showed Hillary and then Trump coming in that wave, right, and winning in
yeah,
2016.
yeah,
And then this seemed exactly the same, where Biden started out strong in a lot of states,
yeah,
and Trump overtook him. And I thought it was the same as going to be the same as 2016. In fact, I stopped watching CNN at a certain point. Um, I think this is right before Ohio turned red because it was blue for the longest time on the board.
yeah,
And then I just got bored because I was like, okay, I get it. They're not bringing out the holograms. This guy's saying the same thing over and over again after a while. You know what I mean? Just circling in
yeah.
on the same five counties.
Yes. So here,
Yeah.
so we
So
got
I started.
Michigan, Pennsylvania.
Now, if we look at Cook County, if we look at DeKalb County, it's like, dude, I know these county names. It's awful. I don't need to.
Yeah, yeah. And they were
Yeah.
getting close. They were like, and if you go on 7th and Broadway, On, you'll
Yeah.
actually see the Johnson family.
Yeah, in
What?
apartment 2A, you can see he
It's
voted
like,
Biden, she voted Trump, which
and they circle the faces. See, she
yeah,
voted Biden, and he voted. And this is a dog, and dogs can't vote. Not a lot of people
yeah.
know that.
Now, if we look at an election history, we can go back and see how he voted in 2000 actually.
let's
It's
go.
like, what is
Let's go back and then compare that.
yeah. Yeah.
Oh my
This is
God.
this is the first time Anthony has voted blue, and it's like, what's happening?
So
It's
you see, so Biden was actually able to flip Anthony. So
yeah,
just
which the Republicans are in trouble if Biden was able to flip Anthony.
listen, Trump can hold on to fucking Kiki, and he can hold on to
Yeah,
Timothy, but he's got to hold on to Anthony.
to Anthony. Yeah,
Yeah.
if
If
he
he
loses
loses
Anthony,
Anthony, that's
he
the
loses
game.
apartment 7B, and
Yeah.
apartment 7B is the swing apartment in the Rosewood complex.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Yeah, this
it's
guy was going in.
yeah, he was having good, but I mean, at the same time it got repetitive, and it's like, damn, bring out the holograms. I don't know why they stopped doing the holograms.
Because it was too much, man. It was
Probably.
too much. It was too busy being used for Kim Kardashian. Did you see that? Like
No, I didn't.
Kanye for Kim's birthday, he got a hologram version of her father. Like he just took her, yeah. So it was just like, and it was a message, and he was like, "Hey Kim, it's been a long time. I'm your dad. I know I'm dead now."
That's
Yeah.
really, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if like my girl got me that of like a dead family member. I'd be like, I don't know.
Hey
That's a lot.
Hassan,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
your great great grandfather.
Yeah, well, that might be a little too much.
Yeah.
I don't know
But
how I
I
feel
mean,
about that.
that's what rich people are doing.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I didn't watch any of the Fox coverage, but like, or the MSNBC coverage, but that's more so based on the fact that I know their graphics aren't as good, and I like
Yeah.
they're just way more plain.
If their graphics, if Fox, and I've been saying that for years, man. Like I love Fox, but I just can't stand the graphics. That's where they really need to work
No,
on.
it's like clunky and old feeling. It's very weird.
Yeah, but they were
Although
right. What was that?
they were the first ones to call Arizona for Biden.
They were right. Yeah, they were right for. So it's like, but you could see that when you could see some states Trump was ahead by so much.
Yeah.
That it was like, you can go ahead and call this one. You know what I mean? It's like you.
Right.
It's like what are we doing? What game are we playing? It's like they held on to Texas for the longest. It's like, well, obviously.
Well, I'll get back to Texas in a second, but yeah, it is like I remember like when the East Coast votes polls, and then CNN would be like, CNN says it's too close to project Tennessee, and I was like, is it too close to project Tennessee, or do we know exactly what Tennessee is about to do?
Yeah, I don't think Tennessee's gonna surprise anybody.
No, definitely not. But this is so I went to bed. Assuming that it was gonna be like 2016, which I thought was gonna happen. I thought like, oh, Trump's gonna win or whatever. And then I wake up in the morning and I look. So after the East Coast polls closed, there we go. I just played video games with like Matt Lockwood and Jake Disherwood. So I would just check Google. That's how I did it. Google AP.
Yeah.
But I woke up in the morning, I checked Google, and then all of a sudden Biden has leads in Wisconsin, Michigan, and Nevada out of nowhere. He won Arizona overnight. Like,
yep.
He really came back from the brink of defeat. Like he was at the brink of defeat.
Yeah, he was there, and it's still way closer than it should have been.
I mean,
like you can tell that's how bad of a candidate Biden was. Is Trump gained ground actually from 2016? He gained voters. Biden still got a lot more voters, but Trump was like really closer than he should have been. And it was like fuck polls.
I thought for sure Biden was going to lose. Honestly, I thought the fact that Biden is on the doorstep of 270 to me in my mind is like, oh, Biden overperformed. That's how much people dislike Trump.
He did, and it was Trump's to lose.
It was Trump's to lose because Biden was. If I'm being honest, if I was, watching the debates and if I was a true undecided voter, if Trump had just shut up during the first debate and not said anything, he would have
Yeah.
really exposed Biden for who he was, and this was a guy who was too old. Biden is too
Yeah.
old. He is a
Yeah.
genuinely bad candidate. Genuinely bad candidate. And the fact that he might win this thing is kind of crazy. I mean, Georgia's still up in the air. Trump is only up 70,000 votes with
Yeah.
and all these states have mail-in votes left. That's it. So I mean, those are all going to go to Biden overwhelmingly.
It's all Biden. It's all
Yeah.
Biden. All these votes, all these millions of votes that they haven't counted yet and are counting now are all Biden.
Yeah, they're all what the split is something like 80% to 20% early votes are Biden or something crazy like that.
Yeah. And they're still counting votes in my hometown, in Detroit. They're still counting votes.
Well, your
And they're still calling
hometown,
for Biden.
your hometown is what is flipping Biden blue, was flipping Michigan blue right now. The
Yeah,
absentee voters
you know?
from that county.
Well, it's just it really does go to show you how much of a failure Trump was.
Mm-hmm.
Because Biden, the Democrats, they didn't do anything for Detroit. Nothing happened. Nothing changed in
No.
Detroit. Flint happened under Obama. Flint, I mean, come on. They were poisoned. The whole city was poisoned. And it's still poisoned. It's like these niggas, Obama went to the fucking town and he drank the water. What the fuck is happening?
Yeah, I mean, this is I didn't think we could come up with an election with two worse choices that we did in 2016, but I think we found it. I think this election is worse than 2016.
I think it is. It's much worse. It was a much less exciting campaign. This one was like way, tenser. I mean, the last one was tense, but this one.
Mm-hmm. This one is. I mean, I'm looking at the electoral map right now, and
he won Wisconsin.
He won Wisconsin. CNN just called Michigan for him. That's according to my mom.
Really?
Yeah,
No.
CNN. Well, he's up. He's not officially on Google. He's not officially awarded Michigan, but he's up. He's up 70,000 votes with 99% reporting.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the extra 1% is all absentee ballots. So there's no way Trump is making up that ground with 1% left.
Yeah, man, they out there. They pulling ballots out their asshole, man. They're like, hey, anything, man. I get it. Yeah. We gotta get Trump out.
Yeah, I mean, and what's it called? But I'm looking at the electoral map, and this is a problem I see for 2024 for Republicans. Right? Is in Trump they have someone that really excites their base and really gets them out to vote. Right? Trump really gets that Republican base out to vote. Right? Let's say in 2024 they run someone like Tucker Carlson or someone who's not as charismatic.
Yeah.
I think the Republicans are going to be in big trouble. I mean, they've lost Arizona, which is huge. The fact they only won Texas by 6 points is insane.
Yeah.
Texas has always been double-digit Republican. The fact that Georgia, North Carolina, and Pennsylvania right now are all toss-ups.
Yeah, I think that's just that. Yeah, that's the failure. That's how bad Trump failed. He's good at riling the base, but he also dropped the ball in such a spectacular way that Joe Biden slept his way.
Yeah. You lost to a guy named he called Sleepy Joe, which is insane. But
it was such a weak name. Like Trump. From every way you can think about it, Trump came soft. He didn't come. This was such a bad election. His nicknames were even not that good. I mean, Sleepy Joe. This is the same guy that called Ted Cruz a rapist or something. He called his father killed Kennedy.
Ted.
Lions. He said more than that. He said his father killed Kennedy.
Right.
he suggested it, but all he could come up with Joe is like, hey, this nigga don't get enough REM sleep. It's like what? So this nigga. The whole time, I feel like this election, he phoned it in. Like the whole thing was just.
I think
he lost it. He lost it.
He got what he reminds me of is kind of like Hillary in 2008 against Obama. Is that I think he just assumed he had it in the bag that he didn't try as hard. I think there was a part of that, right? A part was like, oh, okay, I have this. I'm gonna win. This guy is an idiot or whatever. This guy is clearly too old. I'm gonna win this. He wasn't as funny. He wasn't as like his attacks on Biden weren't as good. Like he tried to attack Biden's son and Biden.
Yeah.
Biden brilliantly took the. I remember in the debate. This is probably Biden's best moment during the debate. He brilliantly redirected his attack on his alive son and made it seem like it was an attack on his dead military hero son. Like that was a good moment. It was just like I don't know what Trump was thinking.
He wasn't. He just was fucking acting. Yeah, he wasn't really. I wish he hadn't been thinking. If he hadn't been thinking, he could have won easily if Trump
I think
had have tried.
Yeah. If he was a bit more of a troll,
and if he just wasn't. Again, Trump's approval rating wasn't that bad during the beginning of the virus when he would shut the fuck up. Remember when he would sit down and wasn't talking, and then everybody kind of like he let Fauci speak, he let the professionals speak, and he was just there listening, and it wasn't that bad. And then he started speaking again because he just couldn't not be the center of attention. That's it.
Yeah,
it's so crazy.
Yeah. And to go back on your point of his insults weren't as good, he kept on calling Biden and stuff a socialist, which is like that's a regular Republican insult. You know, they were calling Obama socialist back in 2008. So it's like, where was the creativity? Where was the Pocahontases? Where was any of that?
And that's what it is we've officially, like, you know what it was? Trump is a hack now. You know, his first album was great. Yeah, but he used all his great stuff on his first go-around. His first album, like that was fire. You know, it was like, oh, he's original, he's really funny. And then the second one is like, come on, bro, like your fucking airline joke, we get it. Yeah.
Well, we truly saw the same thing from Obama, where Obama ran his first campaign as a progressive to rile up that left, right? And then his second campaign, he campaigned as a moderate Democrat, right? So the first campaign, Trump campaigned as an outsider Republican, riled up that base, right? He went far right.
Yeah.
But this campaign, he was still pretty right, but I would say he was more of a regular Republican candidate. He became an insider almost. He did. That's how he started to portray himself. It was a very, it would have been a smart poker move on his end, I think, at some point in the middle of those 4 years to go against the Republicans to show that he's still an outsider. And so when he ran this campaign, he could still be an outsider. But I think at this point, he's falling so lock and step in with like the McConnells and the Paul Ryans back then, and like the Republican brass the Republican brass that it's like it's hard to separate him from that now.
Yeah. He sold out. You know, he's fucking. He got there. He forgot who put him there. You know, what I mean, he forgot why he was there in the first place. And it was to fucking. I mean, his slogan was "Drain the swamp." How you gonna drain the swamp? And you get in there and you fucking like he's just chilling. You know what I mean? I mean, fucking. It's and it became swampier. So it's like, but which is the same thing Obama did. So it's just they all doing the same shit. They talk a big game, but then surround themselves with the same corporate people.
Yeah, it's the same. It's the same. It'll always be the same. I saw this great TikTok, which it really encapsulates my feelings on AOC. It was just this this young liberal white woman, and it was just a picture of her face and the words, "I can't wait till AOC lets me down like every other politician." You know, so I mean, it's only a matter of time that these people end up selling out.
Yeah, it is, and I think they can do some good when they can in their prime, and I'm excited to see AOC in her prime. I believe she'll do some good, and then at a certain point,
she'll sell. She'll turn.
Yeah, you gotta get the fridge full of ice cream, like Nancy Pelosi. You gotta fucking let them eat. You know, I like cake and have that attitude. Was like, you're old now. I get it. You know,
take a couple trips to Epstein's Island,
hanging out. You know what I mean? AOC is definitely. But before that, I feel like she will get some shit done. I mean, even one guy that like never sold out, and maybe he probably should have. Ralph Nader. Ralph Nader kind of just stayed who he was from the beginning, and I think to his detriment because he went out a joke.
Yeah, really. I mean, but that's why the best he could do is Ralph Nader is a politician with potential, but because he didn't sell out all the way, the best he could do was third-party candidate.
Yeah, well, you know what's crazy is I think Ralph should have ran when he was younger. I think we've talked about that. Yeah, he should have
Yeah,
ran.
we have.
Yeah, and then so he missed his opportunity, and now you're an old man. You're like, oh, I want to run for president. You know, like Trump should have been ran for president. Honestly, Trump could have been president. And
I
I
mean,
almost wish he had him because if we had had younger Trump, I think he was a little less racist, a little less. Watch some old interviews of Trump. He seems like more or less a guy.
well,
He speaks the same way, but he just seemed a lot calmer.
younger Trump was also a Democrat, right? So it's like,
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, I think we've brought it up, but this election really, like, it's like these two guys are just too fucking old, man. And
Hmm.
I saw a list of people that like could possibly run in 4 years, and they were just so much younger than these two guys. These two guys are both older than Bill Clinton is now. And Bill Clinton
This is
was elected
ridiculous.
president 30 years ago.
This this is it's ridiculous. The whole thing is but it's set up that way, and that's why it's disgusting. It's disgusting to see Biden win because he didn't do anything. The
Well,
establishment made it so, and they want, and now
the
Kamala is next in line.
the reality is, well, the Kamala thing is like that sucks that Kamala's next in line. But the reality thing is that the reason why they're so old is like this is probably the last election where the baby boomers have the most power. The baby
Yeah,
boomers are still the big,
absolutely.
and so
This is it. This was it.
yeah, they obviously went with two boomer candidates. These are two
This is
boomer
it.
ass candidates. Yeah,
This is the last go. One more time. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like a boomer was like, one more go around.
yeah.
Boys, one last.
This
This one's
this
for
is
old time's sake.
yeah, this is their last shift before they retire. So that means Biden's gonna die. Uh, you know?
Yeah, they're all gonna die. They're all gonna die very
Yeah.
soon. It just sucks having to like. They're just hanging on for so much longer. People are living for so much longer than they used to, and it
Yeah,
sucks because now
and
they
the
get to stay in power for fucking 30 years.
and the reality is that there's just so much more of them. There's so many more baby boomers than there are people our age. It's just
Yeah.
it's
Well, but
just the
also
reality of the situation.
but the mortality rate or like people have died back when baby boomers were growing up. People were dying pretty young, and we've successfully managed to elongate a lot of people's lifespan. And so I think that's
Right.
another reason why our healthcare got better, medicine got better, so they were able to live longer because
Mhm.
back in those times, you didn't need term limits because niggas was dying at like 34. They were getting either assassinated or like, you know what I mean, you're just dead. But we
Right.
got better medicine. They stopped killing niggas. You know what I mean? They stopped assassinating people, as far as we
Uh,
know.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, that's true.
and so now
Well,
it's like people are living for way too long, man. And I think that's what this coronavirus was about. It's a way of kind of righting that wrong and
it's the
killing all the
universe's
hope.
way of it's the
Yeah.
universe's way of balancing the ledger a little bit.
Yeah, it's a yin and yang thing, man. A lot of people don't get that about the universe. It works. Uh, and it's like a balance to
Yeah, it
everything.
is. It is. So I talked earlier about how like okay in the future the Republicans have what I'm looking at as a electoral map problem. If Texas is slowly turning, if Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, if those slowly turn, they're in trouble. But I will say
Yeah.
this: the Republicans have this is the first time where they're making some inroads with Black and Latino voters.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Trump did numbers that they've never seen. They didn't think possible before. It wasn't possible and shouldn't be possible, really. It's only a failure of the Democratic Party. That's why so many people have moved over or whatever, because
Yeah,
the Democrats are so bad. But like Trump improving in every demographic is a sign, except for white men. So
except for white
white
men
men
and white
didn't
women.
grow.
White women
And
didn't grow
no,
yet.
I think he did. Didn't he improve on white women?
No, if Trump, the reason why Trump is losing right now is because he didn't
He
do it in
lost
all
white
the
women.
suburbs. So he had
Yeah.
to have done poorly. Like he went less poorly with white women. He had to, or like
Well,
more poorly with white women.
he did better with blacks
Blacks and Latinos.
and Hispanics and
Mhm.
like I mean he murdered the shit when it comes to Hispanics, bro. He murdered that shit.
Well, I think you'll find so Hispanic people in general like Trump, but I think you'll find one, non-Cuban Hispanics now are going to be very important swing voters, meaning in the
Yeah.
future, they can go either way. I think if the
Yeah.
Democrats had given them a better option, they might have gone Democratic. Whereas,
And you know
but
what?
I will say this: I think the Florida Cubans from here on out are going to be reliably Republican, and I think Florida is going
Yep.
to be reliably red from here on out because of them.
Yep, it is. They are. That's right. And you
Mhm,
know what?
mhm.
And you know who did well with Hispanics, by the way? Bernie Sanders. Bernie
Yeah.
motherfucking Sanders was knocking it out of the park with
Mhm,
Hispanics because they wanted a fucking choice. Don't
mhm.
and that's what the Democrats don't understand, and that's why they're losing black people. I hope it looks like we're edging towards being our own voting bloc, just like Hispanics. It looks like we're
Mhm,
further separating ourselves, which is a good thing, from the Democrats,
mhm.
so they'll have to do shit. Biden did shit where he promised things to everybody else, didn't promise a specific thing to black people. He said in his first 100 days he was gonna work on immigration. He said in his first 100 days he would help transgendered people. He didn't say shit for black people. He said, you ain't black if you vote for me. You know what I mean? He's like, what are you gonna do for black people? Hey, you're not a nigger. I'll put you in jail. That's what he said. And so I think that hopefully moving forward,
Mhm.
they'll figure it out or they'll continue to lose.
Well, well, it's like this. So, years ago, the Democrats used to be the party of the South, and the Republicans used to be the party of the West and the East, right? And then it shifted, and the Republicans were the party of
Yeah,
the South, and the Democrats were the. So, I mean, the idea is to grow the base that will help you win the election. So, if the
yeah,
Democrats are like, "Oh, we're doing well with white men, white women, especially in the suburbs, and Joe Biden with blue collar people," if we focus on that, then eventually you might see the shift where the Democrats become the party of the white people and the Republicans become the party of the minorities. Now we're far away from that for sure, but I
but it could
mean
happen, and it happened
they shift.
before.
They
It's
always
already
they
happened.
always shift.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I mean, if the Republicans accept the results, which it seems like everyone but Trump is willing to,
yeah.
literally everyone but Trump is willing to.
Even
Um,
Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro was like, "Hey, bro, calm down."
yeah, I
He
saw that.
tweeted. Yeah, he's
Yeah, I
like,
saw
"Hey,
that.
man,
Yeah, even
Trump,
Fox News
relax."
was like, even Fox News was like, "Hey man, you lost Arizona." You know what I mean? So it's like, uh,
That's
so
what happens, you know.
yeah. So I mean, but they might be like, if we have these inroads with these communities of color, we might try to start fielding candidates that appeal to them.
Yeah, I, we'll see. I'm hopeful. Maybe more so from the Republican Party because
Well,
what
I'll say, sorry, I'll just say this. I'll say this real quickly. I read somewhere that the Republican Party wants to run Tucker Carlson in 2024. That's why I brought him up earlier. And if they do that, they'll lose all the inroads that they had with at least the Hispanic voters. The non-Cubans are not going to give a fuck about Tucker Carlson.
they're not gonna lose any Hispanic voters from Tucker.
You don't think
They
so?
fuck with Tucker. Listen. The reason that they're open to voting red is because they're not so polarized. So even if Tucker says some polarizing things, a lot of them can see past it and they go with, well, I'm just a conservative.
Oh, really? See, I viewed it as the not like the voters thinking that, oh, I'm conservative, I'm Republican. I viewed it as, it seems to me the Hispanic voters really connected with Trump on the businessman aspect of who Trump was. They
And
like
also, but that's what I'm saying. Tucker is lock and step with Trump in terms of
I
business.
don't think
But I think
but I don't think people view Tucker Carlson as a businessman.
no,
He's
no,
a
no, no. But
personality.
what I'm
That's a
saying,
different thing.
but look, but what I'm saying is they were Republican, and the reason that they're even open to voting Republican is because they're pretty naturally conservative. That's just their base. And
Right.
that being so, Tucker doesn't have to be a businessman if he's saying what they want to hear, and he will, because he knows the talking points. And especially with the wall, especially with immigration, Tucker knows what to say. And a lot of those people fuck with Trump because they fuck with immigration, or they don't. You know what I mean? They are for they're for like borders, they're for walls because they got in the right way, which is that's fair. That's like if I paid a couple $1,000s and did the paperwork, and then I look back and say, man, I could have just fucking hopped over here with a fucking kid that I found on the street, and I'd be fine. They would release me, and that happens. And I think I'm not a part of that group, so it's hard for me
Mhm.
to speak on it. But
Right.
I think,
This is
yeah,
all just us speculating right now.
exactly. But from what I've heard, uh, Hispanic voters who are fuck with Trump, the way they put it to me, that's exactly what they say. They say, I don't want illegal immigration. I like borders. I'm not mad. This is my country now. They see themselves as Americans. And Tucker is an American. That's his whole thing. So I think Tucker might actually pose more of a serious threat, and it would be dangerous. I think Tucker would be a smart choice for them. Hopefully that doesn't happen, because I think, oh man, don't I mean, it's like never again. I think should we ever underestimate anybody that we think couldn't do
Yeah,
it.
I don't know because let's say Biden wins, or let's say the results hold because it's looking like the results are going to hold. So Biden is our next president
And
for the next
he's
four years.
he's up like 4.9.1. You know what I mean? And it's like it's up. It's like 4.49.8 to 49.3. You know what I mean? That's what we're at in some of these.
Yeah, but
So it's super close.
we might see the first incumbent get primaried. I mean, I can't imagine him being a very
Yeah.
popular primary choice.
Yeah, no, he won't be. Yeah, he's gonna get primaried for sure, and I hope he does. You know what I mean? Like because yeah, we gotta keep this thing on us. If people stop and sit back and go back to sleep, and that's what I'm afraid of. They will sleep under Obama, and they want to put us back to sleep. That's why Kamala. That's the whole point of Kamala. They're like, shh, shh, go, yeah, that here you go. Yeah, you just fucking. She's gonna be another pacifier in chief in that way because a lot of people only care on a surface level about Kamala. They don't want to go on a record. Like, we've gone over it several times.
I would say Kamala. I mean, I'm just this is talking from the people I can talk to here. And I live in liberal town, USA. I would say even here, Kamala isn't a very popular choice. And from the people I talk to, and this is what I'm
That's right.
hoping. This is from the average person. I would say the people here don't look at Joe Biden as this huge victory, but they look at Joe Biden as just like a deep breath, a way for the country to
That's what
catch
he is.
itself
Yeah.
before the next thing.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what
think.
he is. That's what he is.
And I think the average person feels that way. I don't think there's no big frenzy. No one's super excited about Joe Biden being president. I remember '08 when Obama was elected. I was excited. I was happy.
That was it. That was the last one.
Yeah, here this time I was this one. I voted for Biden. I was like, I guess.
Oh
I guess
man, you voted for Biden? Damn.
I voted for Biden. I voted for Biden. He got
Come
my.
on, man.
And I said this too
Well,
because I
I
voted.
guess you're black now.
Yeah, yeah.
You're
I voted
black.
with. That was the one big reason where I didn't want to vote for Biden because I was like, oh, I don't want people to confuse me for a black man.
Yeah.
But I was really, my sister can attest to this because me and her were voting. We were filling out our ballots at the dinner table, and I literally said, I guess Biden. I fucking guess. Like
Who did she vote for?
I mean, she's definitely a Biden guy. Although
It would have been pretty awkward if she was like a fucking. Well, she could have been a Kanye. She could have been like, or maybe write in fucking. People write in Bugs Bunny a lot.
but yeah, you know what it is? I don't think for well, one, she's not that huge into music, but growing up for her, I think Kanye like, and this is my my analysis on Kanye's campaign, but like for like the youngest voter like her age, like when I was introduced to Kanye, I learned about Kanye through those first three albums and like this guy's a musical genius, right? But by the time
Yeah.
she was of sort of like age to process all that, Kanye was already a superstar, and then he was sort of beginning his descent into like uh crazy genius. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah.
he was always like on edge, but he was just like more genius than on edge. And then now he's half crazy, half genius, and he toes that line back and forth.
Yeah. And eventually he will be either all genius or all crazy. It's hard to
He,
tell.
that's the thing. He'll always be both. He'll never not be both. He is a crazy genius.
Well, he's gonna lean. The older he gets, he's gonna lean one way or the other for sure. And I think with Christianity, he might be leaning more toward genius because Christianity is a form of, it's not a form of craziness, but it is a good ground. It's a good foundation if you have a crazy mind. It's something to think of. It's something to, like, my life is not my own. It's in God's hands. It's very comforting because some people they can't handle the responsibility of their life not being in God's hands. You know what I mean? Because then that means if God doesn't exist, there's no consequences, I guess, for and then so then your life is ungrounded. So I feel like Christianity stabilizes him in a weird way.
Well, that's the sort of beauty of religion in general, because there are things that are out of your control. That's just the nature of being alive, right? So I mean, the beauty of God is that if you use that the right way, it can sort of explain that, and then sort of like you don't have to worry about that. Meaning, like, if something happens that's out of your control, well, that's God's will. I don't have to. Whereas some people, like I'm one of them, where something happens out of my control, my instinct is, how do I control it? And that's just not a real possibility,
Yeah, and I think that's it. I mean, it sounds like you need Jesus.
Well, I will say this. I have become a little more spiritual. I'm reading the Bible, I'm reading the Quran, I'm doing all that. Like I'm trying to read all of it. Yeah. I'm gonna, after I'm done with the Bible and Quran, I'm gonna go try the Bhagavad Gita, or whatever the Hindu one is. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
The older I get, the more I realize, like, the sort of benefit of religion. Whereas I used to be so one track logical, like if this is this and you can't prove this, then this can't be. Where it's like, well, maybe that's not the best way to be. Faith is important. Faith in
it's necessary. I think it's necessary at a point. And I mean, I always thought of it like, everyone has faith at some point in something, and all it is a certain point to where you just stop asking questions. Like faith is like, you can ask questions all day, and then you get to a point where, you know what, I'm good. You know what I mean? I got to let it go at some point. And then that's what I think faith is. And everyone has that to a degree, because we'd be just sitting asking questions all day. I mean, even the Big Bang Theory, even my favorite example is even the Big Bang Theory stops asking questions at a point. You know what I mean? It's like, and that's the end. And, you know what I mean? It's like, and this is the beginning, and nothing was, it's like, really? Yep. Nothing happened. It was a bang, and that's it. It's like, okay.
That's the thing about the start of the universe, right? Regardless of what regardless of what you believe, like regardless of whether or not, God created this or it was created by a Big Bang, you have to believe that something was created from nothing, and then you can't really ask a question after that. You can't really be like, what was the nothing?
Yeah, what was it going on? Are you kidding me? Like, what was that even? What? So it was like either, and I think it's even crazier if we came out of nothing. If that really is, it's like, what are you talking about? Because at least I can concept, because if God created us, then obviously there are other gods or other life forms. There's even an interesting theory where God, because God is pretty much, you could interchange, God with aliens or anything. He's a lower tier level of a whole nother race of beings or whatever. And he created us, and he has us thinking that, like, he's the only God, which is in the Bible, but really there's other things, and we're not even aware of the fact that we're like praying to someone, worshiping someone who actually isn't anything. He's like a fucking asshole.
I had this theory in high school, and the older I get, the more I kind of believe it. Is so in ninth grade, we had to create these terrarium projects. So I don't know if you had to do it, but in my school, everyone had to do it. So it was like 2 Coke bottles, like 2 2-liter bottles, and you had like, they were separated by section. So one section was like a wet section where you have like little like water creatures, and then a dry land section, and then like an air section where you'd have a fly and spiders. You create a terrarium, like we create our own little ecosystem. And so that's what our universe is. Our universe is literally God's 9th grade science project.
It is.
Yeah. And it's one that he got a C on. You know what I mean? There's a lot of problems. He's not the best student. But he's just in a class full of other 9th graders and just some random, you know what I mean? We're just his science project. He's a 20-something-year-old now. We're all in a trash can or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, we are.
That's how I feel.
He kept going, and then, but we're still going, and
we're still going,
yeah, this guy, whoever created us, is done. And then also there's another thing to where we're created by, so aliens created us. They came down and they genetically, engineered us, and then they started breeding with us, which
Okay.
actually it is in the Bible that angels. Now here's where things all kind of get, crossover, like one big fucking like
Here's where things
Marvel.
get a little history channel-y, as I call it. Here's where
Yeah,
things get a little history channel.
yeah, like no, because in the Bible there's a whole section about angels sleeping with humans. It's in the King James version, but only a tiny snippet. The in-depth stuff is in the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's in shit that wasn't included. They didn't include for obvious reasons. And
Yeah.
in those scrolls, and it's like, oh yeah, angels started coming down and fucking women, and they really weren't supposed to. And then they had created a whole nother breed of whatever it was, and we were only supposed to work for them. And then it just got crazy, and then they said fuck it, and then they left. And so now some aliens, I guess, are still come back, and that's the thing of like reptilians, where we're controlled by some other race or whatever.
Mm.
And but I think it might be a combination of a lot of stuff, because why is it in the Bible that that angels laid with, it was a rule they shouldn't lay with women, and then they saw how beautiful the earthly women were, and they said fuck God, man, I know, listen, I gotta fucking get my dick wet, man.
Oh, dude, yeah. I will say this, from the descriptions I've read of what angels are in the Bible, I could imagine why they saw a human woman and they were like, "This is the hottest thing I've ever seen."
Exactly, so
Bible,
they had to
dude,
fuck them.
angels sound ugly as hell.
Yeah. So they had to fucking, I mean, you can't blame them.
No,
It is crazy, man.
no, Earth women are hot. I'll give the angels that. Earth women are definitely really hot.
Yeah. Yeah, but they fucked up the whole ecosystem. Imagine if you, Hassan, had started fucking the turtles or whatever you had. That wouldn't have it wouldn't have worked out.
Well, they might have figured out how to deal with fucking plastic straws if they had a little human in them.
Yeah, they'd still be around. Yeah, fucking dumbass turtles. I can't believe because of them we can't have straws.
Straws are back now, though, right? People don't give a fuck anymore. I haven't had a paper straw in so long.
Yes, I think for the most part it's back, but it was just, unnecessary.
That was I would say the biggest virtue signaling law of our lifetime so far. Like
Yeah, and
that's all you're doing. That's all you're doing.
it's
It's
only gonna
not
get
doing
worse.
anything better. Like, I hated that. Like, who wants a straw that melts in your drink? That's such an awful idea. Just give us a plastic straw.
God damn, man. So what do you think? What do you think we'll actually know the results of the election?
Well, Pennsylvania said they are not going to be done reporting until tomorrow. Same with Nevada. Right now, Giuliani and Trump Jr. are in Philadelphia protesting, filing a lawsuit for fraud. So, which makes me think they think they're going to end up losing Pennsylvania if they're already
Yeah.
protesting in Philadelphia. Trump wants to stop counting the ballots right now, which would be bad.
He's like, hey, it's like,
Which would be
can we just
bad for
stop?
him, because if they stop counting the ballots right now, he loses.
That's true, but no, it's still gonna be bad because if they keep counting, it's only gonna get worse. Like
Yeah,
he
so
knows what he's doing.
he's in a bad situation either way. He's in a
Yeah,
bad situation either way, because if they stop, he loses. If they continue, he loses even bigger. I guess that's why he kind of wants to stop now.
that makes sense. He's like, all right, yeah, let's take a break.
I mean, I think Trump takes it to the courts. He definitely will. I
Yeah,
mean, they're gonna recount Michigan. They're gonna recount Wisconsin because it falls within the 1% threshold for a recount. So that's gonna officially happen for sure. Nothing's gonna change because this will be the third big recount in my life, and recounts don't do jack shit but tell you that the original count was right.
yeah.
he takes it to the courts, and then from there, I mean, eventually we'll see protests pop up in all over the country for sure. Because he's gonna run with the fraud narrative.
You think so? Yeah.
He's
But
gonna
it'll
run
be
with the
all
fraud.
right. I mean,
No, so
we'll
so
get, yeah.
this is what's gonna happen. He's gonna run with the fraud narrative. So his supporters are all gonna be like, this was fraud, this was fraud, this was fraud. But I mean,
Yeah.
as you saw with Ben Shapiro, as you saw with Fox News, the establishment is gonna accept the results.
Exactly. And that's what I think a lot of people who are alarmist because of Trump's personality, they don't understand about our system. You know, he's not this all powerful kind of guy. It's like everyone else is like, yeah, no, you're done. It's over. He would need such an iron fist, you know, on so much of everything. And
He
generals
would
don't fuck with him. You know what I
no
mean? Like his own
the
generals don't fuck with him.
that's the problem is that the military doesn't fuck with him because
Yeah.
and this is to his detriment. He tried to use the military as a prop, and
Yeah.
the military doesn't like that. They
Yep.
you know they consider themselves the defenders of an American people. They don't consider themselves props of the president, even though he's their commander.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that sort of screwed him on that. You know,
Which is another way how he fucked himself over. Really, this whole story is just one big how Trump screwed himself.
I mean, yeah, he really did screw himself. I don't think Biden loses this if Trump doesn't bungle coronavirus as badly as he did.
Mhm.
I mean, there's a
No,
lot of things Trump could have done to stop this from happening. But like I said, there will be protests and there will be some level of civil unrest.
there was always going to be that, no matter who
Yeah,
won. Always. Yeah.
yeah. You know, I think the shops in Beverly Hills and stuff that with the Biden win, they can unboard a little bit.
They
If,
can't.
if Trump
Yeah. Yeah.
it,
They
if
can.
Trump had lost, if Trump had won convincingly yesterday, oh, the riots in those big cities would have been nuts.
Yeah. But I don't know for what reason, because that's how elections work. If Trump had won legitimately, you go fucking sit down. You cry, baby.
No,
What are you rioting
because
for?
this is what would have happened, and this is what would have been a big gripe in those big cities. Because this would have been the third time in our lifetime, so which is already insane, that the Republican candidate would have won the presidency and lost the popular vote.
So
That would have been the big gripe, and it's a
it's
legitimate
still
complaint.
but the gripe, it's a legitimate gripe, but it is not. Trump didn't write that law.
Mm-hmm.
This has been the way that the country has worked forever. And so let's change it. I agree. But burning shit down doesn't change anything. And it's so funny how people don't understand the word. It's like you might get an instant response. People might, say that they're willing to get behind some agenda, or they might even defund the police of a whole city. So sometimes you get small wins that happen in Portland. But for the most part, what we're talking about is getting rid of the Electoral College. That's not going to happen if you burn down Beverly Hills.
No.
That's going to happen if it can happen, but we need politicians and we need the right kind of support. We need peace. We do need peaceful protests. We need to show people the support that this has, that we all want to change this. I think a lot of us, if it's two things we want, it's to get rid of the Electoral College and get rid of fucking daylight savings time. What the fuck is that? What
We're
is
not farmers
that shit?
anymore. Yeah, it's not necessary.
What the fuck are we doing?
How many votes did Kanye get?
Oh man. Oh no, rest in peace. Yeah. So we've been beating around the bush, man. This it's a sad
the birthday party
day.
dies.
The birthday party does, yeah. Oh god.
Okay. So he was on the just because he was only on the ballot in 12 states. How many votes do you think he got? I want to see if Kanye overperformed or underperformed in your mind.
I think he got I'd say about maybe 50,000 votes.
Oh wow! He pretty much performed like you thought he would. He got 60,000 votes.
There it is. Yeah, that's my man. That's my man. Yeah, getting fucking 10,000 more
than you thought. So I mean, if you were to extrapolate that for 50 states, you're talking around 500,000 votes.
Yeah. which that's a good groundwork for 2024. You know, he laid it in. He put the seed in everybody's mind. A lot of people got used to the idea of writing Kanye on a ballot.
Hmm.
It's
Saying
coming.
he's got to
Yeah,
he's got to pick a, he's got to really, he's got to pick Jay-Z as his running mate. I don't, the Michelle
he's got
Tidball.
to do
I get
something.
what you're.
Yeah,
Yeah, you got to pick someone, on the same level of fame as you. I think for
yeah.
to get to break the million votes that he would be. I think he's able to break in 4 years if he really gives it. If he really starts trying, he can break 1 million votes.
And he could really do some good. I think, man. He's crazy, but if you saw him on Joe Rogan, people are allowed to be Christian, but he doesn't have any desire to force his will on anyone,
Mm,
and he will remain in the framework of the U.S. laws. And so that's all you can ask for. Someone really trying to solve things, and he is going for a solution. He's
yeah.
just all over the place. So he needs an agenda, And I know he's a fan of this show. So, buddy, you got to write down on a piece of paper what you stand for. Okay, just like bullet point some things. You know what's crazy, Asad, is did you watch that? The
What?
interview with him and Joe Rogan?
I actually have not, no.
So it's a lot of rambling and stuff and a lot of Kanye
Mm,
talking, but it's pretty much a Kanye podcast and Joe moderates it.
okay.
So Kanye's talking and he makes a good point about music. He makes a good point about the music industry, about how contracts are designed to keep you in service of the big corporations. You're never going to get all of your money, and it's pages and pages. And he put all of his contracts out, like like fucking 12 pages of just his contract on Twitter, just to show people, like, yo, this is all bullshit. It's all thin air, and it's designed to be archaic and confusing, so people can siphon money off of you, and so you can never actually get out, and you can't even own your masters. Like you're like these people,
Hmm.
which is insane. If I write a song, right? You write a song, it's your song, but you don't own that song the second you sign with a record label. How does that even
Yeah, that's
work?
nuts. That's
How does
nuts.
that even work? So Kanye's point about the music industry, I wish he had the sense enough, because then he went on to talk about how you shouldn't kill babies. But I wish he had a,
Which is not wrong.
I
It's not
guess,
wrong.
yeah, yeah, maybe. It depends
Yeah,
on the baby, really.
that's true.
But
Good point.
he could have connected that, circled it back to politics, because the same archaic rules that govern and contract and combine artists are the same rules that keep us at bay. The reason why we don't have free health, it's these rules controlled by rich people, and they keep it confusing. They keep it webbed up, and it's like all we have to do is address it, that this is an old way of thinking. We can change, we can break, literally take a sledgehammer and break what we have, some of the laws, and reconstruct them. Both the music industry and our government were created, so the rules were created so long ago that
Yeah.
we live in a different time, so we should update them. And there's a good point, there's a good, I think, case to be made. If Kanye was ever that, if he was that smooth to show you, use music industry as an example of what he wants to do for politics, but he actually had no agenda for
You're right.
politics.
Right. That's the problem. Yeah.
Yeah,
The number one thing, I guess, like outside of any partisanship or like big like issues that I want to see from our government is, man, we need term limits on
yeah,
senators.
yeah,
We need term limits. Like the Democrats want to like add to the Supreme Court to add more justices to tilt the court back in their favor. Fuck that.
yeah,
Term limits on Supreme Court justices, term limits on senators, term limits on House members. That's what
yeah.
the
I don't get it.
system really needs. Fuck adding
Yeah,
more judges. Judges, we don't need more judges. We need judges to only have that seat for 10. Maybe they get a second term. Maybe they can hold it for 20 years. After
yeah,
that,
and that's
out.
even, and at least in that scenario, if someone is in office for 20 years, they had to earn it at that 10-year mark, right?
Right.
That's what's important about term limits,
Mhm.
is these people, once they're in there, they can do whatever. Nancy, they can do whatever. They're not beholden to anybody.
Yeah.
And Nancy won, by the way. I don't know if you were
Oh, of course. Of
on the
course.
edge of your seat. If anybody was on
No.
the edge of their seat for
No, of
that
course.
race.
But it's like, and like the whole, oh, the liberals are like, liberal people spent the whole time hoping that Ruth Bader Ginsburg didn't die. And you know who that's unfair to? That's unfair to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, this poor 90-year-old woman who's done amazing things throughout her life, is a trailblazer in the U.S. history. She is a historically important figure, and you want her to live because of your selfish ass reasons? You know what I mean? Like, she couldn't even die in peace.
Yeah.
Peace to
She
her
should
for
have been
holding.
at home. She should have been at home chilling, surrounded by her loved ones.
Yeah, the last few years of her life should have been nice and easy, not like, oh fuck,
She
I
should
have
have
to
been chilling.
struggle to live. So
Yeah. And
the
like
fabric of our country.
yeah, it was already bad enough she was struggling in that fight to live. That's bad enough. But you're right, the added weight of if she was ever to succumb and die, then it would be awful. And we shouldn't put people even close to that. They should have.
She should have
She should
never
have
been
been
in
out
that
of office.
position. Yeah,
Yeah,
she
she
should
should
never
have
been
been
in
out
that
of
position.
office.
Mhm.
These
She should have
people
absolutely
that
never been in
life.
that position.
But again, that's another archaic rule that how come it's in the contract for an artist that once you sign with a record label, you don't own your music? How come it's in the law that once you become a Supreme Court justice, you're there till death? Well, that doesn't, both of those things seem ridiculous. And I think we can change them, at least for the 10-year, 2-term limit. That's, I think, reasonable.
For a Supreme Court judge, that's totally reasonable. That's totally reasonable. Absolutely. Because it's like 10 years is a long time, and then 20 years, it's like, okay, if you're a judge for 20 years, you can sort of see the country for what it is, what it was, and where it's going. So you can make some judgments. But everything after that, it's new blood. It's new blood.
And it's
time.
like, and if you haven't, you will be voted out. You will be replaced. So you should have to be able to get primary. That is a good thing, and I think it's a delicate balance because we don't want it to turn into they're getting primaried every year, and all of a sudden the Supreme Court justice can't do their job, just like Congress. That's exactly what happens with Congress. They can't do their job because they're fundraising for re-election, either a primary challenger or the next every 2 to 4 years. They're like scared of every 2 years, really. Because they have to keep, they just have to keep fundraising.
That's in the House. House is every 2 years. I think Senate's every 6.
Yeah. Okay, that's a little bit better. And but even then, these Senate people, they still get back because 6 years is like. Well, I think what happens, like we saw it, a lot of these, like Mitch McConnell, he kept his seat. The other guy, a lot of other people, they kept their seat.
She's not in the Senate, but the House rep for where my parents live, she's been there since '92. It's insane.
Yeah, but these people aren't giving real challengers. I think the only one that did beat a real challenger was not McConnell, Lindsey Graham.
Lindsey Graham, but even then, Harrison didn't get that many votes. I think he won handily, didn't he?
He got him. It was a good amount of votes, but like Harrison had, I think 30%, and maybe he had 50, so it was just like 20%, 20,000. But he won, and I think he's the only one that actually had a real challenger because Amy McGrath was not a real challenger for Mitch McConnell, and they spent the money they spend on these campaigns assigned. We could have had free healthcare. The money that Bloomberg spent, the money that they spent on Amy McGrath, the money that a lot of these people spend, but just those two alone, we could have had fucking more than universal healthcare. We could have had universal checks, basic income, for
Tom
at least
Steyer,
a couple years. Yeah, it's
how much Tom Steyer spent on his campaign. Yeah, it's insane.
He could have saved the environment. He could have stopped all these fires. He could have.
Everyone in America could have clean water.
Yeah, go figure. That would be great, But I guess you can't, But hey, at least Obama flew to Flint and drank the water
and shot a 3 or whatever. You see that everyone was going crazy because he made a 3-pointer.
He did. It's like of course he did.
We should expect more from our presidents. Well, that shouldn't matter.
But that's exactly what. But we don't. That's no different than Bill Clinton playing the saxophone on Arsenio Hall. It's like, we get it. These people are, they're good. That's why they won. Both of them are
Yeah.
charismatic and they're just fucking smooth operators. But when I saw him sink that three, I think I was like, you know what, I feel like if only we could show that recording to the families who lost loved ones in the bombings that he did, if they could just see Obama his form, I think they would understand.
So
I think they would.
If we just showed clips of the Benghazi attacks and ended it with Obama switching,
just switching, I think it would all, they cancel each other out. It's like it just like nothing ever happened. That's what that 3-pointer did.
That's really funny.
He effectively deleted, Control Alt deleted his record.
Amazing. Oh man. Well, I mean, this was a weird election. We did it. We got through it.
Thank God it's over.
It was supremely underwhelming in terms of like, oh, I don't like any of these guys. Both these guys fucking suck. How many votes do you think Joe Jorgensen got?
Maybe like 110,000.
She had 1.5 million.
What?
She broke 1 million.
Damn.
A lot of
people were talking to her. A lot of people were talking about it, but that's again how shitty these two candidates were. A lot of people were like, I'm just gonna vote for Joe.
Yeah, which I don't truly understand libertarianism that much. To me, if you're like a libertarian, it's like congratulations on being a freshman in college. But but the fact that she got 1 million votes is pretty impressive. So shout out to Joe.
It is. Yeah, shout out to Joe Jorgensen, man. That's she put up some numbers. That's crazy.
She did put up some numbers.
Did she get enough to, well, I guess she didn't get enough to do anything.
No, not to affect like Biden or the thing about Joe, the difference is like people got mad at Nader because Nader expressly took away votes from Gore. You know what I mean? Like the people who would have, but
that's what they say.
That's what they say, but I think Joe would take votes equally from both Biden and Trump. So it's not like that much of a big deal.
Yeah.
In that sort of sense.
And I feel like they were really, it's just I don't know how many votes Nader got, but I don't know if it was proven that it didn't affect. It was kind of like every time when you zone in, the percent he got, it was too little to have affected. So even if you had given that to what's his name, Gore,
it
he still would have lost that state. I mean, he lost because of Florida, and that took 36 days. 36 days to figure out Florida, and there was no like mail-in ballots. So how many days do you think this is gonna take?
This is gonna take a while. So they can't even start the official recount for Wisconsin till November 13th. So that's when, the official recount. Oh, not even then. So it's 10 days after the Secretary of State of that state certifies the results. So as soon as the Secretary of State of Wisconsin certifies the results, they have 10 days after that. That's when they start the recount. I assume to give their poll workers a little time to breathe before they have to count millions of votes again. Yeah. And then it's gonna go to the courts. I mean, the reality is that Trump isn't gonna win. There's before it even gets to the Supreme Court, it'll have to go through so many federal courts, and all his like mail-in sort of lawsuits have all failed.
Yeah.
So and that's with Democratic
he's
and
not a
Republican
tactical guy. Like that's what I've been saying to these people who are like, Trump is there. It's like, don't be afraid of this guy because he hasn't won one thing. He's a lot of talk, but he actually hasn't changed anything or dramatically won.
He's a great maneuverer. So he could maneuver, but that's But to fully change a thing is a whole different story.
It takes way more tact and skill than Trump has, and it takes way more patience
Yes.
than Trump has.
Yes.
Because that's a chess game.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, and that's another thing that I heard about. Like, Trump just doesn't have the time. If it gets to the Supreme Court, it probably won't even pass in the Supreme Court because even a lot of the older Republican judges aren't going to be like, oh, aren't that partisan. I mean, you saw when Trump had a majority in the court, a bunch of decisions went the other direction against him.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So
I think
but the Supreme Court, yeah, it's not it gets politicized, but it's not beholden to one political party. And even though these conservative people get put on the Supreme Court, we've seen them more or less uphold whatever the status has been. So whatever the norm has been, they uphold it.
I mean, the Obamacare fight, the only reason it passed is because Chief Justice Roberts said it was okay to pass, and Roberts is a George Bush appointee.
Exactly. So we've seen. But I wish people would calm down with with these Supreme Court nominations. I get it. I get being mad, but like, let's just see how it plays out.
Coney Barrett is, as far as a judging resume, is supremely underqualified to be a judge.
Super underqualified. Yeah, for sure. But that's not why they're mad, though.
No. She's the Supreme Court equivalent of someone lying about knowing Excel on their work application.
Yeah. She's not qualified. But if people were mad at that, then I think that's a more legitimate reason to be mad at. But that's not what I'm hearing. I'm hearing, oh, she's gonna ban abortion and she's gonna make you fucking like, yeah, it's like have other people's babies. It's like, no, it's fucking she's not gonna do that. But it's, I guess I get being worried, but when they voted against Trump, what you were referencing, when they voted against Trump's
even Kavanaugh voted against Trump.
Mm-hmm. That shows you, I don't know what it says, but it shows you something. You know what I mean? It shows you that they still somehow have been able to remain impartial in that sense, where even if it is a majority conservative court, they're upholding just progressive and normal rights that we've already established. Again, they're not doing anything new, they're just upholding them. So, and I think that's how it works, once we see people deviate from that, then I think we can get a little scared, but that's what term limits need to come.
Right. But we'll see. I mean, the next time we talk, hopefully we'll have a more, concrete thing of what's going on.
Yeah, maybe some of these mail-in votes are for Kanye, and so maybe things aren't done.
Yeah, maybe he might come out of nowhere and win Wyoming or something. That'd be fun.
Oh, bro! And then he holds Wyoming hostage.
Yeah.
Man, why not?
Fingers crossed that Wyoming gets held hostage.
I'm hoping for a tie, but I'm hoping for like a tie between like a legitimate tie.
A legit tie. Well, they said 269 to 269 is officially not possible anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was for a while. It was on the table, but I don't think the math works out anymore.
Well, I guess Trump lost, man. That's it. I guess we're all gonna be socialists now.
Yeah, I did, like we said, that was a big failure in the Trump campaign. I don't think anyone would confuse Biden for an actual socialist.
He even said that one day. He was like, "Look at me. You think I'm a carefree socialist with a soft spot for terrorists," or whatever he said.
In fact, socialists are pretty vocally angry about Biden. It's not like socialists are like keeping quiet about it. Yeah.
So Trump, from every way, he just lost.
Yeah,
he wasn't good. Yeah, the insults, the positioning was better in 2016.
I would say, insult-wise, Trump peaked at Pocahontas. I don't think anything has really gotten better since Pocahontas.
Yeah, after that, he was just phoning it in, like we said. And then he tried to come back with COVID, but that was a cheap ploy. You know what I mean? That was like fucking.
Yeah.
That was like he became a prop comic for a minute, where it's like, we get it.
And he also said he was considering, if he wins the election, to fire Fauci, which was like, what? In what world would that get you more votes? That's only going to make your base happier. That's not going to make a moderate person happy.
He just didn't get it. He completely missed this election. And I think Democrats realized that they were right. They put a corpse, a dead on arrival, kind of no policy, no agenda guy, but he's simply he just lets everybody relax. He's
Yeah.
not gonna
Not
make you
relax. Just
worry.
everyone take a deep breath before they yeah. This is
Yeah.
like
Well, he did. Yeah. Well, a lot of people are relaxed now. A lot of people are fucking, like, thank God when,
yeah.
but that's my fear, man, is they're going to fucking, like I said, they want to fucking sing us right back to fucking sleep.
Well, we'll see. We'll see within the next year what's up. But
Yeah.
this election happened and it was a thing, and it's crazy that the re-election of Donald Trump, the election to re-elect Donald Trump, is not going to be the biggest story of 2020. It truly isn't. This truly is a footnote in the history of this year.
It is. Yeah. Yeah, man. What a fucking crazy. And we still got a couple weeks left.
Yeah, 8 weeks left, couple months. We'll see what happens. All right, Trey.
All right, bro.
Talk to you soon.
Niggas out.